Leonardo watches a young 19-year-old boy taking pictures of his young sister in a wheelchair, when suddenly, a god appears in front of them requesting them to choose one of them as a sacrifice. Leonardo couldn't speak or move due to his cowardly nature, but his young sister felt the need to protect the person who cared the most for her, and sacrificed herself for her brother to get the most rare and powerful artifact on Earth, the all-seeing eyes of the gods. 3 years ago in New York City, a gateway between Earth and beyond opened. Through this gate, an invasion of the otherworldly creatures called Beyondians occurred. In a single night, New York City was destroyed and reconstructed as Hellsalem's lot. This incident is now known as the Great Collapse, which was halted using a barrier raised by casters, people with psychic abilities. After 3 years, humans and Beyondians have finally managed to coexist with each other, but at the cost of pure violence, chaos, and high crime rates. Leonardo moved to Hellsalem's lot after parting away from his sister to change his cowardly self, and at the same time, to search for a hope to cure her, who sacrificed her vision to the god. After moving here, he is still not accustomed to living in this bizarre city. One day when he visits his regular cafe, a supersonic monkey steals his camera filled with his sister's pictures. He chases the monkey and ends up meeting Zap Renfro, a member of a secret organization named Libra, consisting of superhumans who strive to preserve balance in the world. Leonardo realizes that Libra is the key to find out about the beyond, so he lets Zap mistake him for Johnny Landis, a newly recruited member he was looking for, and is taken to Libra's office. Upon arrival, Klaus, the leader of Libra, greets him, but another member, Chain Sumeragi, reports Johnny Landis' death and reveals Leonardo's lies. Leonardo begs and tries to explain his reasons, but gets interrupted by the masked phantom named as King of the Depravity, Fempt, who appears on TV to inform them that he has unleashed a demon who is looking for his other self. Every few minutes, a gate will open with the other demon, and they have to find the gate before the demon does, otherwise humans will meet true chaos. Then suddenly a gate opens next to Leonardo and the demon cuts the building. Zap suspects that Leonardo is Fempt's agent or even the gate, but Chain thinks that the monkey is the gate and chases after it. Leonardo then reveals he possesses the eyes of God, which lets him see anything even past or future, and tearfully explains how he got them. Klaus welcomes him to Libra because his power can help them, and in return, he can find the truth to save his sister. Suddenly, a police force arrives and attacks them on false charges of causing destruction. Klaus attacks them with his power. Leonardo and Zap chase the monkey, but the other half of the demon suddenly appears and attacks them. Zap manipulates the blood with his ability and transforms it into a blade to strike the demon. Leonardo continues to chase the monkey but doesn't kill it. He uses his power and notices the real gate. It's the flea, so he kills the flea to destroy the gate and ruin Fempt's plan to unleash chaos. After joining Libra, Leonardo faces trouble in his pizza delivery job. Zap is always stalking him and snatches away his pizza for customers, making his life a living hell. He heads back and gives Zap a ride. On their way, Leonardo spots a cleaning van where Beyondians have used an illusion to hide their crime of smuggling human bodies. The creature notices Leonardo's gaze, who averts his eyes and drives away. Upon reaching their office, Zap reports the matter to Libra. Suddenly, a creature attacks Zap and then kidnaps Leonardo. They put him in their truck, where he notices humans preserved in vacuum packs to be eaten as food. They want to know why he can see their illusions, and soon realize about his power. Leonardo decides to escape himself instead of relying on others to save him. He uses his power to control the vision of all creatures, forcing them to stop the truck because they are unable to handle what they see. Meanwhile, the Libra team use Zap's blood to track Leonardo and save everyone on time. Later, Leonardo is lying in bed with bandages on his face. He finds out that his power is a double-edged sword. The more he uses it, the more he gets hurt. He can even die from excessive use. Some days later, he decides to take pictures of the hospital's garden. There he finds a cemetery, where he meets a girl named White, who claims herself to be a ghost. Leonardo takes a picture of White and wonders if she is truly a ghost. One day, Leonardo rides the train to attend to a party for Libra's members and meets a strange boy named Black. Black tells him about the demographic stats, and Leonardo notices his crimson aura wings while using his power. At the party, Leonardo talks and describes the weird aura of the strange boy he met at the train. Everyone gathers around him and reveals that he met a blood breed, a race of vampires who hide in the shadows due to their high crime rate. They barely have any information about vampires, because nobody can distinguish them from normal humans. But Leonardo's god eyes can do it, and now they can hope to restore justice. They call Blitz Abrams, a vampire specialist and Klaus' mentor. He opens his briefcase to show a blood-breed's severed hand holding a piece of paper. Abrams wants Leonardo to use his powers and identify the name of the 13 Elders, a group of blood breeders with super strength and fast regenerative abilities. If Leonardo's power works, they will be able to find the members and hunt them down. Leonardo tries his best to use his powers but ends up losing control and injures himself in the process. They later take him to Igadashiad Central, which is located directly over the hole where the Elders are supposed to be hiding. Leonardo looks into the hole to search for the Elders, but his eyes crack and he gets injured once again. He then reveals that their suspicion is wrong. There's no 13 Elders. That hole is filled with vampires. Klaus then works with some FBI agents and defeat 2 blood breeds. In the next day, Leonardo pays a visit to White in her hospital room, but she gives him a cold shoulder, leaving Leonardo bewildered and confused. Leonardo complains about her behavior to Zap while riding a scooter together to attend a meeting. But on their way, a monster truck starts to chase them. They try their best to dodge from the truck, eating every vehicle on the road. But in the end, Leonardo flies from the scooter and hangs on the side of the truck. Caligula, the driver of the monster truck, takes him inside the truck, and she reveals how she combined her boyfriend Deldro Brody, a Beyondian, and Dog Hummer, a member of the Libra organization, to create her ideal handsome man. With a mixture of both looks and personality from both of them, she pushes him to speak about his love life. He tries to deny it multiple times, but finally talks about White, whom he met recently. She encourages him to confess to her, but he dismisses it, as he thinks that it's not serious. Later, Sonic Monkey sneaks a communication device inside the truck. Leonardo then manages to contact a Libra member, Steve, who instructs him that the Libra team is ready to rescue him. He just needs to change the truck location to an isolated area where there will be fewer casualties. Leonardo uses his power to complete the given task, and in the end, Dog Hummer lands a punch that destroys the truck to save him. Leonardo goes to the hospital for a checkup due to his injuries. There he finally musters up his courage and invites White to watch a movie with him, which makes her happy. They sneak from the hospital and watch a comedy movie together, but White feels emotional after watching family bonds in the movie. Leonardo tells her that the movie also moved him because it reminds him of how pathetic he is, and how much trouble he causes to his sister. But White hugs him and tells him that he's not pathetic. Later he visits White, and she introduces him to her brother Black. Leonardo thinks he is the same Crimson Aura boy whom he has met before on the train, but Black doesn't seem to remember their encounter on the train. Later he goes out with Black for lunch. Leonardo gets the chance to ask him about White's condition and the reason for her being hospitalized for 3 years. Black answers that White has a heart condition. Leonardo relates to him and shares about his sister. Black's reveal his psychic abilities when he attempts to stop the coffee from spilling over Leonardo, but he fails because he can't handle his power properly. Next day he goes to the office and notices that Zap is not around to attack Klaus, which he usually does to defeat him. Zap calls Leonardo and asks Klaus for help because he was kidnapped and soon will be killed. Leonardo and Klaus reach an underground fighting arena where Klaus has to fight multiple opponents to free Zap. He defeats most of them but is then challenged by the owner. He defeats him too by punching his face, revealing a blood breed inside the owner's body who enjoys fighting strong opponents. Leonardo finds out that these fights were set up by Zap to pay out his debt to the owner by entertaining his audience. He threatens Zap to tell Klaus about his setup, but he doesn't listen to him, then tries to take his best chance to defeat Klaus, who's worn out. Zaps attacks him from behind, but in the end, he fails as Klaus still manages to beat him. Later, Leonardo meets Black on the way and gives him a ride. Leonardo notices the Halloween decorations around the area and remembers how White introduced herself as a ghost to him. He tells it to Black, which shocks him, but he assures Leonardo that she is an ordinary girl who just likes to say weird things. A few days later, the Libra team gets the intel that a blood gate from India has opened, which lets blood breed enter Hellsalem's lot. They all decide to defeat him. Zap's master, Raju, also joins them and turns the one half of blood breed into an egg. Leonardo tries to use his power to read its name to seal it, but couldn't because the other half is still roaming. With the help of Master Raju's other discipline Zed, they defeat the other half of blood breed. Leonardo reads its name and they seal it successfully. Raju gets impressed by his both disciplines Zed and Zap and leaves Zed with Libra's team. Leonardo, Zap and their new member Zed decide to go outside to eat at their break time. Zap recommends going to Vivian's Cafe, which is a regular place for Leonardo to go. They finally get a peaceful place to eat their food, which makes Leonardo cry in happiness. But unfortunately, the restaurant gets destroyed, and they end up helping Klaus and Steven beat 1000 Rigioka brothers. After the fight, Leonardo goes to the chapel with White, where White asks Leonardo to give her his eyes of the god. It is revealed that Black sacrificed himself in the past to save his sister and got possessed by King of the Despair as a result, and she must get Leonardo's eyes to get her brother back. The King of the Despair uses Black's psychic power to hold Leonardo from moving. White apologizes to him and then puts a device on his eyes, making Leonardo faint. The King of the Despair then takes Leonardo to an isolated place, where he uses Leonardo's powers in a magic circle to start the second collapse on Hellsalem's lot by destroying a barrier. It is revealed that the barrier isn't fully destroyed, so casters are repairing it, and the Libra team is assigned to find the final piece of the barrier, which is inside White. Meanwhile, the Libra team has to look for the final piece of the barrier, which is inside White. Leonardo manages to escape the isolated area, and screams in shock after witnessing the chaos and destruction Hellsalem's lot is facing. Sonic Monkey manages to find him and gives him a recorded message from White on his camera. In that message, she's requesting someone to save Leonardo. This message motivates him to stop the King of the Despair. Leonardo uses his power and locates him in the tower. On his way, Leonardo meets Abrams, who tells him the truth about White. She's not human, she's just a piece of the barrier. But he already knows. Members of Libra help him with their abilities to clear his path and quickly reach the tower. Before leaving, Zed tells Leonardo that he finds him courageous because he doesn't think twice to save his friend. Leonardo's eyes crack, but he continues to move forward instead of giving up. He reaches the tower where King of the Despair and Klaus were fighting. He uses his power and sees Black inside the King of the Despair, pleading not to kill him. He then loudly yells at White, so her soul can hear how her brother hasn't given up. Leonardo then headbutts King of the Despair and shares his vision with him, allowing Black to see White. After seeing his sister, Black gets reawakened. With the help of Leonardo, Black reestablishes the barrier and stops the second collapse. But as a result, White disappears. Klaus congratulates Leonardo for saving everyone, but he cries his eyes out for losing White. In the end, he finally lets go of his past guilt and writes a letter to his sister, promising to tell her about the people who brought hope into his life. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.